Now, this is the second part of the course where we are building our web application using the Django framework. Now, before we move on to the code part and understand how the code is working, there are some steps to follow, and let's see those. So the first step is just directly building a project directory where you can store this code itself. Then before running any command or setting up, just build an environment for this project itself. Now once you once you build an environment, run this command that I'm typing, or I would say that go inside the my site directory first. Okay, like I have. So my project directory was shopping intention, and then I'm inside my site directory, and then run the command pip install r requirements.txt. So what this does is basically it tells the environment that all of these dependencies, yeah, all of these packages are to be downloaded and installed so that this code can access those packages or maybe modules and use them in the code. So this is very important. And what another thing this does is that it tells you exactly what or exactly which package version has to be installed. So once you do this, your environment will be set up and you can use the code or run the code. So now inside the my site directory itself, just run the command python manage.py migrate. Now this is specific to Django, and it is what it does is basically it sets up the database that is required by your Django application itself. Now Django already gives you a set of, I would say, pre-built tables which can be used or which can be modified later on. So for implementation of those pre-built, okay, for those pre-built tables, I would say this command here is run. So once you run this, you would see that a db.sqlite3 file has been created, meaning that the table is now created or the tables are now created. So once you do that, all you have to do for last is python manage.py run server. So what this does is basically tells the code that yeah, everything is set up and you can run the code or the web application locally, or I would say deploy the application locally. So last of this part, yeah, this part is basically telling that how did I build a project and how did I build an app. If you can look here, so see, this my site was actually a project. So this command is what I have to run so that I can build the project itself. The name of the project for me was my site. And now what you do is go inside again the my site directory, and you can say that I went inside here and ran the command python manage.py start app and then again name of the app. So the name of the app I gave was polls. So you can see that first project was built, okay, and project has this all of these my site URL settings and stuff, and you can see that polls, that was my app, has all of these. Not exactly all of these, since some of the folders or files was what I made, but you can see that pre-built stuff has been provided to you by Django itself. So what is this is what I used to build the base of the app itself. Now I can just simply modify and add according to my wishes. So you can see that views, which is inside my app itself, is where we are holding the data or we are holding the code where it will be rendering all our pages, handling all the data that comes through our page and returning the data also. So you can see that the most important part of the Django framework or of the Django web application is what we are doing in views. So you can see that Yeah, let me just open the HTML page also so it makes it a little clear. So yeah, you can see there's a HTML page. Now it is having a form in it. Okay. My God. Yeah. Oh my God. It did it hang? Yeah, I think it hanged. Yeah. So you can see that there's a form and it has some of the inputs that it is taking. Okay. A lot of inputs, I would say. And then at last it is asking you to submit this. Okay. So once you submit, all of that data comes through to the views, and now I'm storing them inside my variables that I have defined. And once I've stored them in my variables, I'm inputting all of those into a data frame that I've created here. So you can see that the data frame has been created, and then the values are being input into the data frame. And then you can see that there's a load model, which means I'm loading the deep learning model that I built in the first part in the collab, and now calling that model and using the predict function to predict the outcome for the data that I have input from my HTML page, home page. So you can see that I'm using the model, I'm using the prediction function, and last I'm storing the result. Now you can see that there is a return function which is returning a render function itself. So basically this render is actually rendering the page, and with itself it is also sending the data from my backend to the front end using context that I have defined here. So you can see that the result I'm sending back again to the front end, and then it goes here, and then the value is shown after the completion of prediction by my model itself. So you can see that this is what I have done. But another thing that I want to highlight here is that there's a function named first having a parameter request. And then you can see that if I go down, there's a function named finding type having a just simple parameter x taking back integer values. So what's the difference between these two? Because there is a difference. And you can see that this function is actually rendering a HTML page. So a function that is rendering an HTML page is specific to that page itself, and all of that data that comes and goes through the front end is handled by this function only. Now the second function that I built is just a helper function. Since it is not taking request as its parameter, that means that this function is not handling any of the pages, not rendering any of the pages, just used to manipulate data only. So this is the part where most of the work done by the web application at the back end is happening, and the front end, just as I showed, is taking values and returning a result or showing the result after completion of prediction. So yeah, this is the part where I would say that Django Web Framework is helping us develop a web application, and which with much ease, sorry, yeah, with much ease, because all of these might not be okay. So all of these, like the views, the admin, apps, URLs, are predefined or pre-made, and I just have to modify or add code into them. And the web application or the Django itself sets, and not only sets, but also keeps a check that there is no vulnerability in the code itself. And for that, let me show you this settings.py file. Now this settings is actually present in my site directory, actually my site directory inside my site directory. Okay, so settings, you can see that there's this here. You can look through the docs that are provided by the Django. And before I move forward, just see that the installed apps. One app was what I made, but there's pre-built apps also. So you can see that static files, there's an app for static files for messages, sessions, auth, admin. This is for basically login and log out. If you're building a login and log out application or having an application which has login and log out feature, so this is what it used for. Again, static files for files that are like HTML, CSS, handling of all those files is done by this, or storing where is done by this. Similarly, you can see that there is a middleware function. So this is where most of the middlewares are added or set, so that Django is aware that yeah, all of these middlewares are to be used for security so that there's no security mishap or there's no vulnerability in the code itself. Now, before we go to the third part, let me just tell you that even after you have built the web application, you have to make some changes and add some files before you can go to production. So the files that you have to add are first proc file, runtime, and there's a requirement.txt file, which I haven't added till now, but I would before going to the third part. And you can see that the last thing is, yeah. So while you have predefined settings, predefined views given to you by Django, you still have to make some changes so that you can go to production. The first change is you have to add this static root. So it is basically telling you that, yeah, once this code goes to production, you have to collect all the static files present in the code and build a static files directory, and all of that static files has to be input inside this static files directory itself. Okay, this looks a little confusing. So if you think that you haven't grasped the notion of why we are building static files or what is happening, you can just go to the doc present here, and it might make clear some things that here you might be thinking, yeah, this is like a little hard to understand. So if you go back up, you can see there's a debug and there's a allowed host feature also. Not exactly features, but variables that are storing some values. Now it is already said that security warnings don't run with debug turned on in production. So debug is actually set to true, but you have to set it to false before going to production. Okay. And another thing is allowed host. Now this is basically telling that your code or web application, it can run on which host or it can run on which DNS. So you have to set that up. Now, if you want to run this code locally, you have to set this. And if you have to run this on some server, then you have to run this or set this up. I will tell you where this actually came from, but that would be in the third part. With this, I would like to tell you that the second part is over, and now you understand that where you have to make the changes, where you have to actually add on the code, where you have to actually create new files and then add on the code so that your web application is set and is working also. So now the second part is over and we will go to the third part, which is probably the last part, that is Heroku and deploying this web application on Heroku itself.